What's up, Falcon fans and non-Falcon fans? On today's episode of Atlanta Falcons 2023 Depth Chart Review Part 5 edition, we're going to talk about the running backs. If you guys like this type of content, let me know by hitting that like button. Subscribe to your boy. I know you guys been doing that so very well lately, so thank you guys from the bottom of my Falcon heart. And if you guys dislike this type of content, let me know by hitting that dislike button. It won't hurt your boy's feelings, well, maybe just a little bit. So now let's continue with the video by exploring the running back position and the fullback position. So let's get into the depth charts. The Atlanta Falcons have a very interesting proposition on the hand where they can either start Tyler Allgeier or Cordarrelle Patterson as their number one day starting running back duo. So which way, who should go in first? It just depends on the opponent who we face, but I love that Arthur Smith has the ability to pick and choose which one for each game day. So let's dive deeper into this. What I really love about CP's story was that everybody remember he was drafted way back in the Minnesotan days in 2013 in the first round. And he was really mostly for a special teams type of player where, kickoffs, punt returns, he did it all in college and he did a pretty good job in Minnesota. But of course, stat-wise, when it comes to rushing and receiving, wasn't really high tier level of play you think you would draft the guy in the first round. So then, I think around 2017, he was with the Oakland Raiders for 1 year, and then with the Patriots the next, and then 2 years after that, he went with the Chicago Bears. But then in 2021, the Atlanta Falcons took a chance on this guy, and he had career years in receiving and rushing yard stats, not in the punting and kickoff stats wise, but even though he did a fantastic job for us, gathering over 618 rushing yards with a grand total of 6 rushing touchdowns and caught over 548 passing yards with 5 touchdowns to boot. And then we reward him by, in 2020-22, we re-signed him on a 2-year contract worth $10 million. And for this season, he kind of got banged up for 4 games, and he was very, very missed on the field and was very evident enough where we had to use the rookie to help us with the running attack. But even still, when he was on the field, he was a menace. He was a dangerous person to not mess with, and people were trying to tackle him, but they couldn't because they were getting steamrolled, getting dragged, and boy, it reminded me of the Steven Jackson eras back in the Rams days. And everybody knows, I think everybody should know, that my favorite running back of all time is Steven Jackson, because I love those traditional running backs that you could just thump down the hill, tackler, tank, running back, where you just bulldoze everything. I'm sorry, I love Steven Jackson, my favorite running back of all time. But besides that, I love what CP has done for this Falcons running attack, and it shows it here where you see on the screen where he pretty much did the same thing, but less because he was out for 4 games. So think about when he was fully healthy. Oh my God, he could have broken 1,000 rushing yards. That would have been amazing to see. But you can still see here he gathered over 695 rushing yards. Total 8 rushing touchdowns. Of course, the passing game attack for him for catching the balls was a little bit different because of Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder really haven't, intertwined with each other on the connection era. But hopefully this year that will definitely change and he'll step up his passing, catching ability game and get him some touchdowns. But I'm very impressed with this with CP, and this is the A+++ pick, and hopefully we can keep him until he retires as a Falcon. So let's carry on with the next guy. I don't want to toot my own horn, but this couch potato warrior knew what the hell I was talking about way back when I did my first Atlanta Falcon Case Files series, season 1, where I talked about Tyler Allgeier and how I think he could become a stunner, a baller for the Atlanta Falcons rushing attack and offensive attack. And I was right. I will gloat. I will freaking gloat because, god damn it, I was right for once. I'm very happy for myself, but most importantly, I'm very proud of this young man and what he accomplished, because remember, he was drafted in the 5th round with the 151st pick overall back in the 2022 draft, and we signed him to a 4-year contract worth $3 million. And what he produced for us, fantastic. It's really shocking that we didn't start him in the first game of the season. Of course, there's a lot of factors I actually talked about, I think in a previous video. I forgot where and when, but I don't think Arthur Smith realized, his full potential, or didn't give him, or they didn't see enough confidence in himself, or maybe he didn't understand the playbook quick enough for him to get started or suited up. But regardless of the case, now he's a baller, and you have to fear this man. This this Thundercat, this this mountain lion of a cougar. Get it? Because he plays for BYU, who are the Cougars. Okay, besides the point, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted here. He gathered over 1,035 rushing yards, averaging 4.9 per carry. Got 3 touchdowns. His longest was a 44. And how many first downs he's gotten us? 53. And guess what? He fumbled 0 times. So that's a keeper in my opinion. And then, I remember when doing my research about this young man, a lot of people were complaining about the reason why his draft stock was so low and not high, because his passing game was horrendous. It was terrible. A lot of professional pros, college scouts, and beat writers were saying that this man cannot catch a daisy. He was a butterball boy, basically. And when I was watching the film, when he was with BYU, I didn't see that. Well, yeah, maybe a couple times, yeah, he kind of missed in there, but most in reality, I think people just wanted to bring this young man down. They criticized him, but they did it where they destroyed him, teared him up, instead of trying to build him up. And honestly, I didn't really see a lot of problems in his passing game anyways, besides the blocking here or there, but regardless, he done everything he needed to do, and he just killed it, man. Okay, let me calm down for a second. My bad. Now let's talk about the passing game that Tyler Allgeier was used in. Now, he was targeted 17 times between Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder. He caught 16 receptions with 139 total receiving yards. He averaged 8.7 per catch. He caught 1 touchdown, and he moved the chains 8 times when he's using his hands. So that's pretty good work. One thing I'm very impressed with Tyler Allgeier's running style of attack is that he's very patient. He's willing to sit behind, let the fullback or let the offensive line or the wide receiver or the tight ends to push up or move aside the defenders, and then when he sees that little gap, he takes off with no hesitation. He's a very powerful halfback, and he has excellent ball vision to boot as well. So let's continue on with the next guy. Now let's talk about our boy Caleb Huntley, who was signed to a 1-year contract worth less than $1 million. Now, back in 2021, he was undrafted, so we picked him up, and he came from out of Ball State. Now, he didn't play his rookie season, but his second season, he accumulated over 366 rushing yards. He got 1 touchdown against the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, he got to play in 12 games because he got injured in week 15, and it was a season injury, so he couldn't play anymore. But hopefully, for this season, he really understands Arthur Smith's playbook and can really grasp every single down of snaps he has to play. Because when he was still on the field, there were more positives than negatives I've seen in this kid, and he's a dog. He won't go down without a fight, and that's something I love about this kid. So now let's talk about Avery Williams, where he was previously a cornerback out of Boise State back in 2021 draft when he was picked up in the 5th round with the 183 pick overall, and he was signed to a 4-year contract worth $3 million. So I don't know if that changes because you switch positions. I have no idea, but for this season, Arthur Smith decided to put him in the running back position. Now, he didn't really flash a lot. Now, there were maybe 2 or 3 times he did give us those good golden opportunities to make even better plays, to get touchdowns. But more like, I think he just had to get into development, to understanding how a running back role is. So of course he wasn't going to be spectacular or anything, but of course he was our primary kick and punt returner, and special teams player and gunner. So he has a lot on his plate. So honestly, I think he could definitely improve on his running techniques. Well, on the running, styles and how they carry the ball and which way to maneuver. All that, technical, body motion types of plays. So I think he's still gonna be a running back for us this year. Will he switch again? I honestly don't know. He could be like our Army switch knife or something like that. I don't know. Who knows? He's a very mystery type of player for us, but I still like him on the roster. So let's try not to cut him at all costs. So now that leaves BJ Baylor. Hopefully I'm saying my boy's name right. Don't know what he's all about. Don't know particularly what the contract is with him. I kind of forgot how we got him or why we got him, or he was already in the practice squad and now he's just part of the member. I think, unfortunately, he's going to be cut because we're going to get a new guy in the NFL draft this year. So, yeah, I'm sorry, my boy. I really do apologize. But, yeah, don't got a clue what you're going to do. So, now let's talk about the fullbacks. So the fullback position is a very complex and complicated situation where stats really doesn't shine or deny what they're capable of or how good or how bad they are. You just have to see and watch and react what they do on the battlefield. And for Keith Smith, he was fantastic. I think last year he was way better than this year, but I still digress. The Atlanta Falcons re-signed him back to a one-year contract worth $2 million. Now, he is the age at 31, but even still, he's a baller. Remember, he came from the Dallas Cowboys back in 2014. Then he was with the Oakland Raiders. And now he's with the Atlanta Falcons since 2019. So that gives you, and that tells you that he plays great longevity. He has never been injured with the Falcons, so that's a good bonus. Now, last year, or the 2 years before, back in 2021, he was averaging 3.4 per carry. He had more statistics in 2021, and unlike 2022, because he was more of a blocking type of fullback. Now his receivings were really down this year than the previous years, because back in 2021 he was targeted 10 times, caught 9 receptions for 56 yards. He averaged 6.2 per reception. No touchdown so far in his career, but this season he only got targeted twice, only caught 1 reception for 8 yards. So, here and there, but he's very underrated. He knows what he needs to do to create holes for the running back. He goes after anybody that's in front of him. He doesn't hesitate. I love his spirit and how he conducts himself in the battlefield. Now, last year, I made Atlanta Falcons Keith Smith Warhorse Ultimate Highlight 2021 video for him to showcase what he brings to the table. He is an excellent pass protection. He's an excellent run blocker. He's a good receiving. He's also good in kicking return tackles and punt return tackles. He could do it all. So when you get a guy like that on your side of the field, more likely than not, everybody else wants to do better as well. And he really does help the running game so much. He really does. So if you guys go look at every other game this season, you see he be making plays, he be making holes, he be making all these cuts, and he be tripping on these defenders. So yes, he's an excellent guy, and people should give him more love. So watch that video if you guys get a chance. So, and then we have the other guy. Last guy is Clint Rakotovich, who is a fullback for us. Now, in college, he did play for the Northern Illinoisans. I guess how you say it. Was he an all-star, all-pro, all that cool palava? Not really. I never seen any of his games, so who the hell I know. He could be a good guy, he could be a steal for us, but more than likely, he's just trying to learn from Keith Smith. And when Keith Smith retires or we eventually cut him, he will hopefully, be a plug-in place type of dude. Do I have any high hopes for this guy? Not really, because I don't know anything about him, and I don't mean to be mean or anything, but until we actually see you put, yourself on the field, practice or preseason or whatever, we just don't know, and he's going to be entering to the shadow realm until that actually happens. So on that note, there's really not much information I guys can give you on this guy, but hopefully he pans out for us in the future years. I want to thank you guys again for watching this to the very end. If you guys are still here, you guys don't have to watch any of my videos, so I deeply appreciate you guys just staying tuned. So on that note, what do Falcons do? Rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace to the world, and peace.